A very good evening, everyone. As President of WICCI West Bengal Life Skills Council, I welcome you to today's debate and discussion on a very delicate topic. Is it women empowerment or is it women dominance? And we shall be defining the thin line within. Our council, under the global leadership of Dr. Harbeen Arora and spectacular commanding officers, Eastern Region Chairperson Manjula Jain and Vice Chairperson Indu Gandhi, they have been nudging us to derive the correct thought and policy advancement towards generating positive growth mindset, both for business and personal benefits. We are very honored today also to have respected AGNI MITRA Paul, member of the West Bengal Legislative Assembly and President of the West Bengal unit of BJP Mahila Morcha today with us as our eminent chief guest in conversation today. The word power takes on a different dimension, viewed through a gendered and societal lens. Power is often associated with strength, which in turn is linked to physical prowess or financial might. The default assumption is that of all the society benefits, when men are raised to become powerful, their families, their communities, their places of work and worship, it's all right. But when women talk about exerting power or flexing their collective might, the assumptions are very different. Sometimes it leaves women wondering how much is too much. They get confused with their asserting emotions and values while in retaliation to environmental catalysts. Today, our council members will be exploring and debating for and against views on 4 acts belonging to 4 different but quintessential spaces of a woman's life. Let's explore certain expressions which is visited by our Bollywood performing arts industry, who are more or less replicas of societal mindset. And with that note, I would like to introduce our Act 1 speakers for debate today, with the thought in question being, is seeking divorce over a mere slap, is it righteous or stubborn? And may I have the speakers for the particular session, Chandray Mitra and Asta Bhargava with me. Thank you, council members, for joining in.
Thank you.
Chandray Mitra is an educationist and social activist, and she will be speaking for the motion. Whereas Asta Bhargava, who is an internationally certified image consultant and NABERT accredited soft skills trainer and certified nutritionist, will be speaking against the motion. But before that, can I request team Turiya Communications and Turiya Talks, who happens to be our media partners for this particular event, to play the AV for Act 1, please.
ये लीगल नोटिस है आपको घर वापस ले जाने के लिए।
मुझे नहीं जाना है।
What's the real story? His family?
No.
He's having an affair?
No.
You're having an affair?
No.
So just one slap then?
Just a slap. पर नहीं मार सकता।
एक माइक।
अमू प्लीज लेट हो रहा है यार।
टूट के हम दोनों में जो
अरे अमू फोड़ दिया मैंने आज। You should have been there. घर तक के लिए वेट तो कर लो।
मैं स्लीपी हूँ।
मैं तो बिल्कुल स्लीपी नहीं हूँ। उसको विश्वास नहीं था कि कंपनी चला सकता है, समझा? यार shit happens. होता है। Move on.
मैं कंपनी में इतने इमोशनली इन्वेस्टेड है, you could not move on. मैंने तो अपनी पूरी लाइफ इन्वेस्ट करी है तुम्हारे साथ। कैसे मूव ऑन करूं? I don't love you.
बस यही सुनना रह गया था, बेटी डाइवोर्स करेगी।
जाने दे बेटा, थोड़ा बर्दाश्त करना सीखना चाहिए औरतों को। हर रिश्ता फ्लॉड होता है, उसे जोड़ के रखना पड़ता है।
जोड़ के रखनी पड़े कोई चीज तो मतलब टूटी हुई है।
इन लव थोड़ी बहुत मारपीट तो एक्सप्रेशन ऑफ लव ही है ना सर।
We have eyewitness testimony कि उस रात पार्टी में कोई वायलेंट एक्ट कमिट नहीं किया था।
अगली पिटीशन में ये भी लिखवा देना कि मैं शराबी, पागल और मैनिक डिप्रेसिव हूँ, क्योंकि अभी इनकम्प्लीट लग रही है।
You still want to play fair?
उस एक थप्पड़ से ना मुझे वो सारी अनफेयर चीज़ें साफ साफ दिखने लग गई जिसको मैं अनदेखा करके मूव ऑन करती जा रही थी.
That was indeed captivating. And on that note, I would like to leave the floor to Chandre and Astaji to share the debate with everyone in the audience. Over to you.
Hello, am I audible? Good evening to the Honorable Chief Guest, our eloquent moderator, my respected panelists, and the esteemed audience. I am Chandra Mitra, and I will be speaking for the motion. Bas ek thappad and filing for divorce, is it being righteous or being stubborn? Well, as I said, I'll speak for the motion because I believe that the protagonist realizes that her relationship has been broken beyond repair. So it is not necessary to establish a fault, quote unquote, to seek a divorce. In doing so, she chooses herself above the family and may seem to appear to be adamant, whereas the husband, the pitiable one. Well, my worthy opponent may come up and ask me that, don't you think that shouldn't she have compromised for the greater good? Because her husband just slapped her because of professional frustrations. And again, she might say that, don't you think she should have laid conditions that he should visit a psychological counselor for anger management? That way the marriage could have been saved. Or that she could have forgiven him because he's not a habitual abuser. Well, now let's see what the court of laws say. In a country where marital rape is also not considered to be a crime, the court says, and I quote, one isolate incident cannot be termed as cruelty so much so as to dissolve a marriage. Well, citing this, you may say, look, isn't she overreacting? Well, to that, I ask a counter question. Don't you think life is for living rather than mere survival? And just imagine what her life would have been if she would have accepted and gone on with it. It would be a life of stoic, submissive silence. But our protagonist, in contrast, proclaims, उसने मुझे मारा, पहली बार नहीं मार सकता. बस इतनी सी बात है और मेरी petition भी इतनी सी है. To sum up, the comparison between the cost of saving a marriage and self-esteem is bound to be brought up by my worthy opponent. But to that, I will say that the very concept of a happy marriage rests on the fact that one partner mutually gives respect to the self-esteem of the other partner. But in this relationship, that premise had been shattered by Basik Thappar. So I feel that she is right to choose to refuse to be dominated by her husband. She has the right to choose herself to be empowered. I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you, Chandra. Beautifully articulated. A perfect marriage is just two imperfect people who refuse to give up on each other. How perfect it is, isn't it? Good evening, everyone. I'm Astha. To be honest, I also had my share of apprehensions towards the message of the movie when I heard people say in movie, wife asked for a divorce for just one slap, and that too unintentional. However, movie beautifully portrays how it is never about one isolated incident, but a number of factors imbibed in it. It was more about the unapologetic attitude of the husband. It was about Amrita's mother-in-law, who ignoring the incident like an elephant in the room and rather asking her to show up in the party and behave as if nothing has happened. Her partial attitude, her biased nature, when she later asked Amrita if Vikram slept well and not if she is okay. No, I am not saying it was okay for Vikram to have hit Amrita at the first place. Slap is an abuse, slap is wrong. What I'm trying to say is we all make mistakes. We can redeem ourselves by acknowledging them and by make up for them. See, to fix something, one needs to acknowledge that it is broken. Vikram never does that. And going by the character sketch of Amrita in the movie, I believe things would have been different had Vikram asked for an apology, or a mother-in-law would have counseled Vikram, as was done in the case of Amrita's family in a similar incident when her parents had counseled Amrita's brother. Now, I was shocked when Amrita files for divorce, seeing such a sensible, loving, caring, wonderful wife, wonderful daughter-in-law she is. And, in fact, more than being shocked, I was sad because I like the chemistry between the two. I like the planning for the future. I also wanted to see the blue door of their house in London. Divorce is so common these days, and it hurts to look at the statistics. Yet, everyone wants to have a happy marriage for the years to come. See, happy marriage are created, and to create a happy marriage, it is not a smooth ride. We all understand that. Marriage is like a submarine, only safe if you get all the way inside. In the process, both the partners need to work consciously. In a husband and a wife relationship, one of the partners will have to invest more than the other and hope the other party reciprocates this when it is their turn. This is what keeps the relationship going. Don't you think so? Compromise to a little extent is required in a husband and a wife relationship for it to stay healthy. A good marriage, what I think is you do not find. It is something which you do not find. It is something which you make and you keep on making it. Focus in such a relationship of a husband and wife, or say the focal point in such a relationship is the growth of the relationship, so that it is a win-win situation for both. Marriage, what I personally feel, is not an Olympic tournament where one has to be declared the winner. Now, my question is, when husband and wife are clothes of each other, where comes the question of self-respect? Self-respect, according to me, is when both husband and wife are happy with each other, when there is harmony in the house, when there is peace in the married life. Amrita could have easily given second chance to Vikram. She could have taken Vikram to the counselor. She could have asked the counselor, or have, Vikram would have taken the anger management issues, counseling for anger management issues. If she really cared about the marriage. After all, a divorce is like an amputation. You survive it, but you are less of it. A less of you is left in it. At last, I would like to say, a great marriage is not when two perfect couples come together. It is when an imperfect couple learns to enjoy the difference. Thank you. You're muted.
It was really intriguing for me to hear the both sides of the coin. But Astaji, while you were trying to defend that a little bit of compromise is okay, a little bit of imperfection is okay, I could see a little smirk on Chandra's face. Chandra, would you like to take a few words to just give something back to Astaji on it? Very candid and very quickly.
Of course. Astaji, when I was talking, I did say that you will mention about the counselor and the anger management course. But remember, she would be unhappy. She would be dominated every time. How could he slap her once? Could she slap him? Never. So an unhappy woman can never make others around her happy. So I feel, and I object to the fact that a divorce amputes a life. No, it's a new beginning. Life always opens a door when one closes. Thank you.
Oh, I have goosebumps hearing that, Chandri. Thank you so very much, both of you. Indeed, it was very intriguing. And on that note, I would also like to mention that we have our special guest for the evening, Ma'am Agni Mitra Paul, to hearing what our council members are going to be speaking. And on that note, I would move forward to the Act 2 of the evening. And for that, I would like to introduce our speakers for Act 2. And the thought in question is, how morally is it correct to use self-pity for political majority? And for that, to speak for the motion is myself, Vijayanti Pogalia. And to speak against the motion, I have with me Prachi Rathi. May I have Prachi on the stage, please? Thank you, Prachi, for being my co-debater here. And quick few words for Prachi. Prachi is a psychological counselor. She is a graphologist, life skills trainer, and owner of Let's Smile Counseling Center for Your Happiness. And on that note, I would like to begin the four in motion debate by saying that by and large, people view self-pity as a negative and unpleasant emotion. But yes, how can you know what the for motion I need to say if I don't show you the clip that is going to justify why I need to speak for the motion? And for that, may I request Team Turiya Talks to play the AV for Act 2.
जहर मुझे तो पागल तो नहीं हो रही लक्ष्मी?
मैं भी हैरान थी, इसीलिए आपके सारे सैंपल्स मैंने दिल्ली एम्स भेजे। कहना तो नहीं चाहिए, पर एक बात कहूंगी कि किसी पे ज्यादा भरोसा मत कीजिए। और खान साहब, उनके बारे में तो लखनऊ में कितना कुछ सुनने को मिलता है।
पति है वो मेरा, प्यार करती हूँ उससे। अरे गोली खाई है उसने मेरे लिए।
आप ही के फायदे के लिए कह रही है। आप डाइट करेंगे नहीं, तबीयत फिर बिगड़ जाएगी।
मेरी कोई गलती नहीं है, मैंने कुछ भी नहीं किया है। आपको कोई गलतफहमी हुई है मैडम।
जहर खिला खिला के जहरीली तो बना ही चुके हो। अब इससे पहले कि डस लूं, सब कुछ सच सच बता दे।
मेरा असली नाम शाजिया अहमद है। दानिश के साथ मेरी सगाई हुई थी।
अब आप हमें छोड़ेंगी तो नहीं? लीजिए, चला दीजिए गोली।
और वो इंसान जिसे तुम सबके सामने मैंने अपना पति माना था, देखो, जरा देखो।
Yes, and I would be debating for the motion because I believe that by and large, people view self-pity as a negative and unpleasant emotion, one which we associate with egoism, vanity, and particularly undeserving privilege. Indeed, I would like to say that self-pity is rightly dismissed in most cases as deeply unattractive quality, and it demonstrates self-centeredness. But in case it is not the same in case of victims who are victims of abuse, especially women. However, things in such scenarios are very complicated. As we saw in the AV, that how she was manipulated by a husband and how she was made to come to a front where her health was being compromised. So definitely she has to stand for her rights. She cannot just stand there and wait for the next thing to happen to her, which might lead up to another situation which is not so friendly. The first complication that comes for a woman who is in abuse is that it's a trauma, it's a social trauma, it's a mental trauma. And in many instances, it is seen that women are not able to come out of a trauma, and they get into a mood of self-pity, which is again not righteous. Secondly, unlike most instances of self-pity in which the individual is often at least partly responsible for her fate, in cases of abuse, the responsibility totally lies on the abuser and not the abused. In some of the instances, those who feel that self-pity might be encouraged to think that proactively what went wrong and how it went wrong and how we can improve the future, but who has the balance to actually understand it? In the case of abuse victims, the abuse is something that happens to her unambiguously, happen to her, and if the victim can to some level turn the tables to the positive front, use the torture and abuse as a guard and as a shield to save herself from future attacks, my answer is why not? As long as she knows there is no turning back, as long as she knows her abuser will never be the same again, as long as she knows that he will never realize what his doings are. So then, instead of self-pitying, if she uses a little bit of a mental strength to work for her, why not? And so be it. Yes, self-pity, to use it for success, should be monitored very closely. But if the person in action, as women herein concerned, are emotionally so strong and who can judge how far she can go to keep her hats of dignity and respect on. Women being strong and the mental strength can give them the ability to forgive and forget. But for an individual, when she reaches a point when she has to choose between this dignity and between someone who can take away her respect and the being for the future, then the fight for survival becomes a necessity. Then the fight for survival becomes her duty. And on that note, I would leave the motion and against to be debated by Prachi, my fellow co-partner here.
Thank you, Ajanti, for putting across really strong points. And I would really like to put across now my points, which is against the motion. So humans are different from all other living species because of, the complex emotional system that we live by. It's not new for people, looking to rise to power to play, use, manipulate these emotions to their advantage. We have seen this since times unknown, from Ramayana to Mahabharata, 2 times today. Leaders rise to power and retain it by playing the sympathy card. But I am really glad that we are questioning this today, and I strongly believe that this is morally incorrect to use sympathy or self-pity to gain political powers. Let me get directly to my pointers here, and I will stand against the motion. I would like the audience to make note of my pointers. My first argument is that anyone who gets into politics is there for the people, by the people. They are elected to the position to be able to see through the pains and struggles of the people, and it's not vice versa. It's not for the people to see their pain and vote them out of pity. It takes away the essence of electing your representative at the end of the day. My second point is voting out of pity diverts attention from key developmental issues. Igniting pity impairs the power of the mind to criticize. It rather entangles the voter emotionally with the leader. This is morally incorrect because the votes are more out of the emotional touch than the efficiency of the leader. And that brings me to my third point, which is leaders or political leaders, if I must say, are elected because they possess certain qualities. If we start electing leaders based on the feeling, by feeling sorry or empathizing or sympathizing with them about their story and not on their qualities, how do we raise a society that runs efficiently? It's going to collapse for sure. Is that why do we even go through the entire process of electing and going through that entire jazz? No. My fourth point, which is again a very important point, I feel, is accountability. Accountability of political representatives, and that decreases as sympathy increases. Lines between professional and personal becomes blurred, and that's not good for any system to run efficiently. The last but very important point that I would like to make here is pity is a very temporary emotion, but it is followed by regret. It makes people suffer their own decisions. It's morally incorrect to suck on people's emotions and then thrive. It only makes political leaders more power hungry, and that's detrimental for the society at large. To all the viewers who are watching this video, there's a question for you. Do you want to elect your representatives based out of emotions or based on their qualities, their capabilities, their track record of work, and most importantly, for them to resolve your issues, the common man issues? And for all these reasons that I have stated, the motion must fall. Signing off, Prachi.
That's fantastic, Prachi. But let me ask you, how far, I do understand that self-pity is not to be justified. And I do understand that you need to have some potential in any fields in life to be where you have to be. Only then you are recognized for your true caliber, to fit that particular seat. But if I have to ask you right now, we're talking about this very thin line between women empowerment and women dominance. And if men happen to be manipulative in their political career and women happen to be manipulative in their political career, in the question of ethics, how do you feel how much of it is correct? A quickly candid few words from you.
Absolutely. I would just keep aside the men and the women part, and I would see the political position at large. And I would say that whoever is there at that position is there for the people and by the people, like I said in my pointer. So instead of them making their life out there and seeking votes based on their life, it should be why they are there. They're there because they are there for the people, to serve them, to resolve their issues. So at large, it's the people who should see that, okay, this representative is going to solve my issues, than fall into all that self-pity emotion and go ahead and vote for them.
Thank you so much, Prachi. On that note, I'm sure that everyone would agree that women do get trapped with the prejudices and judgments of being characterized as trans-aggressive and described in a very negative and derogatory, resentful way because of their presence in a public sphere. And I hope that with our individual thoughts, Prachi and myself, we've been able to touch that aspect a little minutely for all the listeners. And moving ahead with the Act 3 for today's event and the debate, I would like to introduce my council members, Neha Hatiramani and Shraddha A. Mohta. Can you please take the stage? Thank you so very much. Few words for Shraddha Mohta, who is going to be speaking for the motion. Shraddha is the partner of Trustodam's Wealth Management, a financial advisory firm, and she's on a mission to help 1,000 women to become independent thinker and taking their own financial decisions. That's wonderful, Shraddha. Neha Hatiramani, on the other side, is a life enhancement coach and a soft skill trainer. And before we begin the debate on the subject, which is revenge okay, and how much of it is too much, I would like to request the Team Turiya Communications and Team Turiya Talks to please play the AV for Act 3. Thank you. May I request my council members, Neha Hatiramani and Shraddha Mohta, to take on the charge for the stage and move ahead with the debate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vaijanti Pugalia. A woman with a voice is by definition a strong woman, a quote by Melinda. In this video, we see how Meera raised the voice of justice against her husband, which she found how she was betrayed by everyone, her mother-in-law in domestic life, her colleagues and friends in corporate life, and her husband when it comes to finance and her love life. Then she decided to take charge of her own life. She started from finance, where she found Akash mortgaged everything she owns without her consent and left her nowhere. Meera was devastated. Her first step was to take divorce and get everything back, which she earned and owned, so that she can live life with dignity. Meera was living a happy life with his son Abhi. This is where Akash again came in her life, and he decided to take revenge. harass Mira, and kick her out of the town by disowning everything she has: her house, her job, and even her son Abhi. After Mira came to know about his revenge, she decided to teach him a lesson. Mira invited Akarsh over dinner and spent a night with him. Later, as a token of gift, Mira sent Akarsh's belt to his wife Alia. Now, this time, Alia was devastated as she knew that Akarsh was lying. Mira decided to inform Alia's parents, which we saw in the video. Akarsh lost everything and was left all alone. Initially, Mira was not interested in handling her finance and was always dependent on Akarsh, despite of having her own dreams and goals. Mira took charge of her finance only when she realized that she was being cheated by Akarsh and she can't trust him anymore. According to me, what Mira did was the right thing in doing whatever she did. Sometimes it's very important to teach a lesson to people who take you for granted and want to ruin your life. Mira has put across a strong message to people like Akarsh that women can become Ma Durga and punish such devils for betterment of humanity. Our Indian mythology have always showed that devils should be punished. I strongly believe that women have a huge role to play and have equal rights to know about family finances, whether they are earning member or not. And every woman should take charge of their finance and be involved in family finances. What is your opinion on this, dear guest friends? Thank you so much.
Thank you for such strong points, Shraddha, and a very good evening to everyone present here. I'm Neha Hatiramani, and I'm going to be speaking against the motion, revenge, how much is too much. Confucius said, before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves. Well, Gandhi seemed to agree with him when he said, an eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind. Revenge seems to be one of the deepest instincts we have. Well, who hasn't said, I hope he gets his, or wish that karma would strike sooner than later? There is definitely honesty in Akarsh's portrayal of a man who cheats on his wife, not because he isn't in love with her or isn't moved by her, but merely because that is who he is and he fell in love with another person. There is no harm in being in love with more than one person, and loving one more doesn't really mean loving the other less. The only reason that was hidden was because of the fear of losing and breaking his family. Akarsh, now Mira's ex-husband, is back in town to reclaim his life and mend his relationship with his son, while Mira struggles to keep her cool. He was a complete family man who still wanted to be part of his son's life and day-to-day activities. He definitely was a good father who just wanted to get closer to his son. But while the need for revenge can be understandable, it is never healthy. There is a very thin line of difference between seeking justice and taking power in your own hands versus taking revenge. Like hate, revenge is something that takes a toll on a person who feels wronged as well as the other person. Venting those feelings of anger and hostility does not decrease those feelings. It may give you a kick initially, but it doesn't last long. Some people do equate revenge with seeking justice. People who seek revenge are often driven by anger and violence and have not thought about how to channel their negative feelings into something positive. Mira was so caught up with revenge that she didn't realize the toll it was taking on her own son. To conclude, justice or taking control in your own hands does not mean ruining the other person's life. Justice does not mean almost killing the other person. Justice does not mean breaking the other person's family. Justice does not mean bringing someone on the road. And justice does not mean pushing someone to the extent of him wanting to end his life. As said by Albert Einstein, weak people revenge, strong people forgive, and intelligent people ignore. Thank you.
Wow, that was indeed incredible, Shraddha and Neha. And Shraddha, in very quick words, what do you have to say to Neha when she says that revenge is not justice, revenge is not intelligent, revenge is something to be ignored, to be just let go of and not bother about? In quick words, what do you have to say about revenge in your personal space and thoughts? A quick few words from you, Shraddha, to Neha on the subject.
I agree on this, what Neha said, that we shouldn't take revenge. But if you go inside, on the first part, she did not take revenge and she left Akarsh and she was happily living with his son. It was then when Akarsh again came, and this time it was his intention to ruin Meera and take everything away she has. So this is the time, sometimes people understand revenge language. And I'm sure after this, he understood everything and he went back to Delhi living a normal life. And there, I would say that it was Meera only who helped him and, to make a peaceful life for herself, her son, and for his ex-husband.
Well, thank you so much, Shraddha. I'm sure Neha has a lot to say about that, but we will take that on a personal chat. And thank you both so much for your views. Moving ahead, audience, towards our last act for today, which is the Act 4, which speaks about women at the corporate front, with the thought in question being, is it empathetic femininity which is important, or the corporate career? And today, I'm very sorry to say that our foreign motion speaker, Prerna Roy, was not able to be with us because of a medical emergency, but to fill her space, we have again with us Neha Hatiramani, who will be speaking for the motion. And to give her support in speaking against the motion, I have with me Dr. Kumkum Mukherjee, who is a retired professor in management, a long stint in teaching and management consultancy, and she's very actively involved in research. All the thoughts that Neha would be sharing here in For the Motion has been written and has been pondered over by Prerna herself and is just recited by Neha. But Prerna, for that matter, we are going to miss you today and wish you a great health very soon. And on that note, may I request Team Turiya Communications to play the last AV for the evening. Thank you.
Rani, the bank needs a new image. 1, a big social welfare scheme. And 2, your smiling face, plastered all over, advertising for the bank. And we sell you as the good Indian housewife who knows how to save money and spend wisely.
You want to project me as a good housewife? What about my strategy for the economic growth of the bank, Sanjay?
We should have the goals of the board and your strategy to work in tandem. And I'm always there to help.
I'll certainly take you up on that offer, Deepak. I'm going after our big, bad debts and starting a new venture capital division to fund startups with a big future.
Look, the funds will only be available to you after we approve your pipeline of investments.
I think Rani needs to be given a chance to turn the bank around.
Thank you, Pradyuman.
I'm sorry, but you are not getting the 500.
Well, I'm starting the division anyway. You have to understand, I have big plans. I mean, we've met... Just give me a moment.
Rani?
Rani, what happened?
Rani, are you okay?
Thank you so much, Team Turiya Communication. And on that note, Neha and Dr. Kumkum, the floor is all yours. Thank you.
A very good evening to one and all again. As Vajanti mentioned, I am just filling in for Prerna and reciting exactly what she has written to support her cause. According to me, empathetic femininity and corporate career are not exclusive concepts. It's not one or the other. Both of them can coexist in perfect synergy. In fact, working women throughout history have shown us that they can handle both work and home equally efficiently. I feel this question is deep rooted in the inherent patriarchy in our society. A woman with ambition is looked down upon. Gender roles have been defined in concrete. Taking care of the household is entirely a woman's prerogative somehow. Women are taught, both overtly and subtly, that they are the ones who must handle familial duties, even if it is to their own detriment. Men are expected to be ambitious and earn for the family at the cost of family duties if they wish so. This being said, it's the 21st century, and women from all walks of life are choosing to have it all: a blissful family, a rewarding career, and some solitude to find some time for themselves. And why shouldn't they, right? And even if, for a second, we assume that women are hardwired to be more empathetic by birth, this can only be a positive in the corporate environment, right? Modern businesses require a lot of empathy and emotional intelligence. Gone are the days where the boss just sets deadlines and expect employees to get in line through fear or intimidation. The days have changed. Empathy towards employees and colleagues is the only way to achieve holistic success. Surely, this makes women more apt to be leaders in a corporate environment. Working mothers, wives, daughters, everywhere are working that extra bit hard to maintain a balance between their careers and familial needs. They don't have to. Society doesn't expect this dual fronted effort from men. But still, these women put in that effort, and you know what? They're all the better for it. Over to you, Dr. Kumhun.
Thank you very much, Neha, the way you put it. But then again, you are rather pushing the individual woman into the stereotypical mode that the society has, for time immemorial, has slapped on them, right? This is, as we know, Netflix, streaming in Netflix, the Bombay Begum that we are talking about. There are 6 episodes that are there, and this show involves 4 women and a child, and they are they are shattering the proverbial glass ceiling, going away with male domination, and are establishing themselves into the corporate arena, which was traditionally maintained and controlled by men. In the process, they are overcoming, they are trying to fight the typical stereotypes of becoming soft and taking care more of the family than the work life. They are shattering all those myths, and they are showing each one of them, Rani as well as a very able deputy and a new entrant into the job area. They are all trying, and are not just trying, they are establishing themselves in the corporate career. They are doing it in a brilliant way. They are showing how they can change their style. Look at Rani from the corporate boardroom. She didn't mind wearing jewelry and advertising her bank, so that people go take to do the ritual, borrow money from the bank. And as she says, she can do anything for the betterment of her bank. But what was ignored is her strategic mind, for by which she had put the corporate, turning it around and doing this in a brilliant way. In this process, we can find that each one of them, I am taking of these adult women, and we are not talking about the child. Actually, Rani's stepdaughter, but she's also has a spark of her own being in touch with her own femininity and all these things. We are not taking her into this scenario right now, but what we find is that they are not talking about her brilliance, Rani's brilliance, the other her deputy's brilliance, and the new one her willingness to toil and climb up the corporate career, and they are trying to dismiss the entire thing. They are as intelligent and sharp as their male counterpart in trying and sticking and accessing power, and they can do it better than men, and they have also their fine senses in places, as Neha mentioned about their empathy and all. These are there, but that doesn't stop them from not accessing power, staying in power, being manipulative if that be the need of the hour. They can do it. They are in the process shattering the proverbial glass ceiling completely and going to the top and staying at the top, right? So our main contention was whether it is women empowerment or women dominant, and is the line between these two are rather thin. What I think is the women empowerment is seen as something given, handed over to women by men. Gone are those days. I beg to differ, and I want to say that now the days are of dominance, women dominance. Yes, you heard me right. And it is now they are leading the corporate or wherever they are, and they make the people dance to their tune. That's what I think. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor. Indeed, what I could make out from this discussion between Neha and you is that women can balance their front. Women have the intelligence to balance their domestic front, their personal emotion. At the same time, they can aspire and they can be desirous to aim for that corporate growth, that corporate success. And every woman in her space who wants to fill this seat of power knows how to go about this circle of being superior, both at a social front as well as in business growth. Keeping in mind, I think a woman can be better leaders. Everyone would agree. Even Hitler said that a nation which has strong women, that nation is sure to prosper. So on that note, thank you, speakers. It was indeed a great discussion. And moving ahead with a much awaited segment for today's debate, I would like to introduce my special guest for today, guest in conversation. We have with us Ma'am Agni Mitra Paul. May I have Agni Mitra Paul up on the stage, please?
Yes. Good evening, Vajanti. Good evening,
Hello, ma'am. A very good evening to you, and thank you for taking out time to be with us. And it's indeed my pleasure and my team's pleasure to have you and hear your views on the subject. And I would like to tell the audience a little bit about Ma'am Agni Mitra Paul, who is a member of the West Bengal Legislative Assembly. She is president of the West Bengal unit of BJP Mahila Morcha, a multi-awarded celebrity fashion designer. She even had the privilege of getting a letter of appreciation from the US Secretary of State for her gift of a customized Katha stole to Mrs. Hillary Clinton. She has even adorned Goddess Durga and her family in exquisite 34 kg gold attire, which became a benchmark in the history of Durga Puja celebrations in India. She has worked with the great celebrities like Mithun Chakraborty, Chakravarti, Babul Supriyo, Isha Diol, Manisha Koirala, Sri Devi, Chitrangada, and almost all the Tollywood fraternity. Amongst the many awards and citations that ma'am has won, the ones that I would like to mention here are the Times Power Women Award by the Times of India and the Shri Award for Women Excellence in Designing. Being a social activist, ma'am has done many projects to benefit the community. A project with CIR for teaching stitching to women in the Sundarbans and empowering them. Convener of the project Pranam by the Kolkata Police and NGO the Bengal to help the senior citizens. Brand ambassador for Loreto Rainbow Homes, where slum children of Kolkata are provided with shelter, education. The visually challenged children of National Association for the Blind, acid attack victims of Kolkata and Dhaka, and trafficked women. Ma'am, you have quite a glare and amazing triumph in your portfolio. And thank you so much for being with us today to share your views.
Thank you so much, Vajanti. Thank you, Vicky, for
And I would
inviting me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And to share the stage with me, who is going to be in conversation with Agni Mitropol today is Sandhya Sitodia, the proud owner and founder of Turiya Communications and Turiya Talks, a professional with 16 years of experience. Her prior professional experience includes serving with big entities like Wipro Limited, Medica Superspecialty Hospitals, Microscac, Indian Television, and so many others. Turiya Communications LLP excels in website designing and SEO, digital and social media marketing, corporate communications, PR and branding. And these are just few of the services which is provided by the company. Turiya Talks, on the other hand, debuted in May 2020 and is a knowledge-sharing YouTube platform which has hosted leaders in entrepreneurs, scientists, journalists, and lots more. A wide range of contemporary issues have been discussed and with utmost detail on this platform. Turiya Talks has the objective to be the #1 knowledge-sharing platform where the best minds in business meet and exchange ideas. And today, again, from WICCI, we are very thankful to Sandhya Sitodia for hosting this event on Turiya Talks. Over to you, Sandhya. Please take the discussion ahead with Ma'am Agni Mitropol. Over to you.
Namaste. Good evening. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. United we stand, divided we fall. So we all have to work as a team. And welcome again to a debate and discussion organized by WICCI West Bengal Life Skills Council. And welcome once again to this live discussion with a special guest, MLA Ma'am Agni Mitropol, in a discussion only at Turiya Talks. The subject of empowerment of women has become a burning issue all over the world, including India, since last few decades. It helps them to take their own decisions by breaking all personal limitations of the society and family. Women are the largest untapped reservoir of talent in the world. Women empowerment or women dominance. So today we'll define the thin line only with ma'am. Ma'am is not only a beautiful person, but ma'am is a beautiful soul and she's a great designer. So ma'am, welcome to Turiya Talks and this WICCI West Bengal Life Skills Council session. Once again,
thank you so much.
Ma'am,
Thank you,
we would
Sandhya.
like to begin by asking your thoughts on the debate which we all have just witnessed. Do you think the change that our council members portrayed in terms of thought members, we justify to these thoughts?
Thank you, Sandhya. Thank you, Turiya Communication, for hosting me today. Thank you, Vajanti, for connecting me and inviting me on this so prestigious platform. And thank you to all these beautiful and such vibrant speakers. You know, I missed the first part, but I just connected from the end of the first part, but the second, third, fourth were absolutely fantastic. And I just can't say that I agree to one of the speaker and I don't agree to others, because all of them had such important points. So it was extremely pertinent, and definitely the topics that you have chosen for today's debate was absolutely very pertinent in today's time. So it was wonderful actually hearing them. And I was like really, always talking about politics, politics, politics. It was a kind of, refresher talking about all these, bright women. They were really very good. Very,
Thank
very
you.
good.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Sandhya, over to you.
Right. So behind every successful woman, there is a tribe of other successful women who have their back. We'll keep on discussing. We'll talk about this thin line, but I would like to understand your perspective, ma'am. How important do you think is to draw a line between women empowerment and women dominance?
See, in today's time, I feel that it is important that, first of all, we all women, we first be empowered. First, we, the privileged ones who are empowered, we pull up those who are not empowered. First of all, I don't believe that women are not empowered. We all are empowered. We are all Ma Durga. You were talking about I dressing up Ma Durga. I feel we come from a land of Ma Durga, Ma Saraswati, Ma Lokhi, Ma Kali. We all women are Ma Durga. And all the things which are needed to be Ma Durga, God has given us. We just need to realize that we have everything in between us, inside us. And the privileged ones like us who have realized that, we need to pull up those who haven't yet realized. So first of all, I believe that we need to be empowered and then step into that area of dominance. That area of dominance is necessary, provided it is for the benefit of the society, it is for the benefit of humanity, it is for the benefit of the others. And there we do not cross the line where we harm others. Dominance is not bad. Dictatorship is bad. Autocratic rule is bad. But dominance is not bad. I feel that all dominant women are empowered. All empowered women are not dominant.
That's
So we
beautiful
need,
thought, ma'am, what you just said, that all women who are dominant are empowered and all empowered women are not dominant. I think that's a beautiful thought. What do you have to say, Sandhya, on it?
So I think there we have another question, something related to words like dominant, authoritative. So, ma'am, people often use words like dominant, authoritative. I have seen a couple of people divorcing their wives saying that she was too aggressive. This has become a sentence, patent statement. So they talk about these words when discussing women empowerment. What do you think and why does it happen?
see, our society, I feel, is not yet used to women being empowered, women being dominant. But, we have seen our grandmothers and great grandmothers being dominant in some of our families. We saw our grandmothers, controlling the entire families. Even today, you see our mothers and our grandmothers, controlling the family, and the fathers and grandmothers are absolutely in fear of the mother of the house. But still, I feel, Indian men are still not ready to accept and empowered women. Maybe generations, next generation, the generation after that, as we progress, more and more men will get used to women getting empowered, women being dominant. But it is not about just, it is, I think, like you said, that in a family, they said the woman is too aggressive. I mean, I think it's a very perspective thing. The man might think that, the women's behavior is in his perspective, he thinks it is very aggressive. But for me, being her sister, I might think that this is very normal. I, being another woman of the family or a sister-in-law, I might think it is very normal. So I think it's a very perspective, like in what perspective you see it. And where I think that, still Indian men are not ready to accept that Indian women can be empowered, can be in a dominant role, like Smriti Irani, we have in political world, we have Sheikh Hasina, we have our own Mamta Banerjee, we have the US Vice President, Kamala Devi, I'm forgetting her name, Harris, Kamala Devi Harris. We have Madam Merkel, the Vice Chancellor of Germany, first time. So we have these kind of dominant women. So it is, I feel, for us in today's world, in today's time, women needs to get empowered and needs to cross and go over to that area of dominance, but don't cross the line to harm people, to harm
Ma'am,
your
at this
husband.
point, I would like to ask you what you just said, that there are families in which women are, have the, the entire control in their hands. Do you think those families where women are leading, where the decision making is in the hands of the women, those families are different in their thoughts, in relation to modernism and acceptance of growth, in relation to the other families where it's more patriarchal thought process?
Of course, there will be. I'm sure there will be, difference in thoughts where a mother-in-law or the great grandmother is taking control of the entire family. Then definitely there will be some kind of freedom given to the women of the house. There will be a different kind of respect given to the women of the house. It's apt to happen. So I feel, from a matriarchal society to a patriarchal society, in these times, in northeast eastern states, we have matriarchal society. The women are working, women are taking control of the entire household, they are earning members of the house. But elsewhere we don't see it. But it's high time that we women, we empower ourselves, we empower the others, and don't see dominance as something bad. We don't see dominance as something bad. Dominance is required. For myself, I feel that, I was empowered when I was in. I come from Asansol, a very small town. It's not like Calcutta, a small town. I belong to a middle class family. We are two sisters. I never thought of being a fashion designer. I studied in Loreto Convent, very middle class family. My father is a doctor, mother is a homemaker. And from there, I became empowered by being a designer. I was empowered for 23 years. And then I thought that, no, I want to work for the people. I want to work for the women, for the society. I want to join politics. Millions of people told me not to do it. They said, you don't need to join politics to serve the people. It's a bad, bad world. Don't join politics. But I feel that it's a bad, bad world because people like us don't join. Good people like us, educated people like us, women like us need to join. Then only, the world will change.
Absolutely.
And then only, when your children will say, Ma, what will I do? What will be my ambition? What do I want to be? Then you will say, why don't you be a politician? Nowadays, no parents will say, you be a politician. So I think I was empowered. Now I am on my way to be dominant. Now that I have become an MLA, I'm on my way to be dominant, because if I don't have the dominant power, if I don't dominate, then how am I going to exercise my power to do good for my people? Anyways, we are in the opposition. We weren't being able to form the government. We are unable to form the government. So I need to be dominant to exercise my power for the good of my people, to do good to my society, not for the bad of my society, not to do bad for my people, not to take advantage of my people. But that dominance thing has to be there so that AGNI influences, encourages, motivates another 20 women to come and join politics.
Awesome. Very well said, ma'am. Very well said. Over to you, Sandhya.
I feel that's required.
Before we take a few questions from the audience, I would like to welcome few guests, those who have joined in late. They have not missed much. We are talking about women empowerment or women dominance. The thin line we'll see. In case you have missed it, you please log on to Turiya Talks and please watch the show. There's something special about a woman who dominates in a man's world, and it takes a certain grace, strength, intelligence, fearlessness, and the nerve to never say no for an answer. Ma'am, you are indeed a leader. Can we have those questions, please? Can we get those questions displayed here? We all know strong women don't have attitudes, they have standards and boundaries set. This is too small. Being associated with an organization working for women empowerment in districts, ma'am, can you please share some of your experience with our audience kindly?
Being associated with an organization working for women empowerment in districts. You mean to say with BJP, with Bharatiya Janata
Yes,
Party?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we have been, I am the president of BJP Women's Wing, that is the Mahila Morcha, for the last 1 year. In 2020, I became the president. So I just completed 1 year in June. We have been working with, women, especially at the grassroots level. We have been we had a program called UMA, where just before the elections, we had this project called UMA, where we were, giving this martial arts training to women from the age of 12 to 35. First come, first serve basis. Martial arts training, because, we were seeing a lot of women were getting raped, sexually assaulted. So to prevent that in every district, we were having this program. So we have these kind of programs, for the empowerment of women. We were having programs for skill development, and we also plan to have these kind of programs in the coming, months also, provided things are little peaceful in West Bengal, because there's a lot of political killings going on after 2nd of May, after the results were out. So once things are little, shanti is there, peace is there, we would start on with more programs like this. See, we are always there for women, whoever who is getting, attacked, molested, raped. And we have seen cases where the police is not taking FIR. We are always there to help her out, go to the police stations, help her to, get an FIR done. So we are always there, irrespective of whether the women is from TMC or CPM or whichever party she is. It's not important for us. As long as she is women and she belongs to West Bengal, we are always by her.
Right, ma'am. Thank you for this perspective.
Thank you.
Women don't need to find their voices. They need to be empowered to use it, and people need to be urged to listen. So with that note, ma'am, I would like to ask you if you can share your views on the WICCI and its achievements, please.
No, it's wonderful, I mean, I had heard about WICCI, but when Vajanti connected with me, it's wonderful, because before joining politics, I was with all right. It's ALL. I was with that.
Yes,
with that.
ma'am.
I was also the chairwoman of CII, the women's wing. So I was with them, and there we started a very interesting project, in Sundarban, where we were teaching stitching. It was basically, because I was the chairwoman, I was more interested in teaching them stitching. These women, whom we call tiger widows, their husbands have been either killed by the tigers when they had gone to the forest, or to get fishes. They usually, the livelihood is to get, fishing in Sundarban areas. So these tiger widows are extremely poor women, and we were teaching them stitching. And we were, after they learned how to stitch, we were also giving them work, and they were earning also. So this was something which was very interesting, and I was very happy doing it. Other than, the Loreto Convent program that we did, the Loreto, the rainbow homes which the Loreto have for the downtrodden children, which Sister Cyril had started when these footpath little girls were getting raped. Sister Cyril of Loreto, she started, this Rainbow Homes, which is in the terrace of every Loreto. And, they are taught yoga and painting and everything. They stay in Loreto, and they are all these footpath children. And during holidays, sometimes they go to their parents or they stay there. So it was wonderful to know about WICCI, that you all are, working with entrepreneurs. And
Yes,
this is
ma'am.
such
So,
a
like
wonderful.
as Vicky, ma'am, we are already 500 members
I
only
heard
just in
so.
West
Yes,
Bengal,
yes,
with the
yes.
proud leadership of the global chairperson, Dr. Harbeen Arora, and our
Right.
East Indian chairperson, Manjula Ji Jain.
Right.
And we here want to sit with the government and discuss policy matters. We are here to give our skill support and wherever we can to the government. So wherever, ma'am, you feel that as the Wiki counterparts, we can assist in any project and we can sit down and have a one-on-one communication with you. Kindly let us know your available time.
Definitely.
From Wiki, we would want to come and discuss the same with you and see how we can make changes both at urban and rural front, because your
Sure.
work at rural front is very intoxicating, and it's mesmerizing to see, ma'am, how there's so many different pockets that you've touched with being the president of the Mahila Morcha, and not forming the government, but yet through your capacity, you are doing lots, ma'am. So at Wiki, we are looking forward to working hand in hand, ma'am, with your institution to discuss on some policy matters. And
So we
with
would
that
love
note,
to, work together. We would love to work together.
thank you, ma'am. And with that note, Sandhya, there's so many questions which are coming up for ma'am. Please
Seriously.
take it ahead.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead. But first of all, I would like to say Wiki women are strong women. They are the ones who see building up one another instead of tearing each other down. So we have a question from Ishi Compose, and ma'am, she is asking, ma'am, how do you wish to inspire the women entrepreneurs of today? And I will listen to it very, very carefully
See,
because I
for
need to be inspired. Yes.
no, for the women entrepreneurs, I think it's so important, that you inspire another 20 women, because right now, with the economy of the world, being down so much after this pandemic, jobs are not there right now, and we all need to kind of be entrepreneurs and at least maybe employ 5, 10, 15, 20, 100, as much as women or men as possible. So I think it is very much necessary that we start something of our own. Every one of us is talented, and I don't believe in this, that you need a huge investment to start any kind of entrepreneurship. So you can start with anything. I myself started with, I don't know whether you'll believe it, in 1997 I started my label. I used to work in a boutique where I used to get 2,500. My salary was 2,500, and I used to get a 7% commission on the clothes that I designed, which got sold. So the money which I got at the end of the month was around 10,000 or 7,000, depended on which season. During pujas and Diwali, it was right 10,000, 15,000, and in the summer season it was like 7,000, 6,000. But I started from there. So I feel that we need to start somewhere. And for entrepreneurship, again, I feel that we need to have that perseverance, that patience, to be there. You just can't lose, you just can't leave it. For designers, we just can't leave a profession that it's a flop collection. We didn't get much appreciation, so I'll leave it. You can't do that. Even if it's a flop collection, you need to just carry on. So I feel perseverance and focus is very much required. And let us all connect and help each other. Like you said in Wiki, you're always connecting with each other. Today's world is about marketing, how you market yourself. And with COVID around, with pandemic, it's everything about online, about social medium. So I think it's about PR, it's about connecting. So I think we all women, if we come together, we can be a fantastic team. Nothing is impossible. Nothing,
Yes,
just nothing
ma'am.
is
And ma'am,
impossible.
when you mentioned about PR and social media and digital medium, I really want to take up this question. I kept this for later, but today, the woman who is leading the show today in the media fraternity for us, today's event is by Turiya Talks, which is head by Sandhya Sitodia, who's sitting right across us, a woman-led agency, and she started from where to where, and she's come a long way. What do you have to say about women in media, women who are journalists, women who are the faces of the community, who bring forward instruments of learning, of thoughts, of discussions? So do you think that the way women put up these thoughts are different and very distinctive compared to men?
Absolutely. We have a very different kind of thinking, and we are sometimes more emotional, and sometimes we are again more rational. People say that women are more emotional, but I feel that in some cases I feel we are more rational than the men. And in media we have, I have so many friends, women who are just leading from the front in national television, in state television, everywhere, and they are just doing wonderful. It's, you see, timing wise, it's just such haywire timings, but women are always there to adjust and balance life. Whatever the timing, wherever one needs to go, wherever one needs to travel during these floods, earthquakes, political meetings, everywhere I see women are, they're leading from the front, these journalists. So I feel actually, women have showed that for her in today's world, just nothing is impossible. And 5 days back, we have seen the lady, after Anita Williams, the lady, the American lady, again, she went to space with, I'm forgetting his name, with that aircraft which they had grown. So women is everywhere, in space, in the military, in media, in fighting the COVID. Previously we used to think that, oh, night duties for a doctor, women is, how will that be possible for a woman? But you see, during this last 1.5 years, both men and women doctors have been fighting COVID all over the world.
Absolutely.
So you just can't say that women is weak in anywhere. They have proved it. So I think fantastic, and I want to congratulate you, for doing such good work in just 1 year's time. You just started 1 year back, and you're doing such fantastic work. All the best to you. And I just want to tell my audience, my girl audience over here, that I just remember one thing, whenever I feel down, that nothing is impossible in this life. Just nothing is impossible. If you have the will, there is a way.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And I'm sure Sandhya must be really happy in our space now. Over to you, Sandhya, for some more questions from the audience.
But I am not happy at all with my progress, with my connect and with my knowledge. I thought I'll do wonders, but it's okay.
It is okay to be dissatisfied. It's good to be unsatisfied and dissatisfied. Yes.
So we would like to have a question from Manjula Ji Jain, and ma'am is the Eastern Region Chairperson for WICCI. And ma'am is asking, ma'am, that can a woman be empowered with the support of family? Please share your views on this.
See, a woman can be empowered without the support of family, but I feel, it's like they say, completing the full circle. It's a bit, I will not again say it's not completing full circle. But again, there are cases when a woman doesn't get the support of the family, but that's not the women's problem. That's not her fault. If the family doesn't support her, whether it's her own family or in-laws or whoever, it is not her fault. But when your family supports, it's much more happier, it's much more 100% satisfaction. But I don't agree to this, that a woman can't be empowered without a family support. Of course she can be, because I feel that it's just a one life, it's a small life. Today we are here, tomorrow we are not there. You need to fulfill your wishes, you need to fulfill your dreams. So
that's
again,
very
not hurting anybody, again, not hurting anybody,
And I
not
think, ma'am,
making anybody
because women
suffer.
tend to think more from their heart, and they wherever their mind is, they want their heart to have the equal space. So if the family support is there, as you said, they are happier.
Yes, of course. And it's not only for women, I feel, it's for men also. If a man doesn't get some family support, and he can be the billionaire of the world, or he can be the president of United States, but without the family support, it's not that क्या बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में वो मीठा नहीं होता सक्सेस मीठा नहीं होता तो it's like
Right.
that you might be very successful, but it's not that as sweet. But again, for women, I feel it is you need to be empowered. There is no choice in today's world. You without or with family support, you have to be empowered.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And ma'am, moving towards the last question for today. Today's debate, ma'am, we tried to show 4 different characteristics where a woman is retaliating to few catalysts, being domestic, being political, being financial, being corporate. And women, as you see very rightly, maybe less visible in the political world, but they are coming up. And leaders like you give them that spirit to move ahead. Where do you think, ma'am, out of all these 4 focuses in life, where do you think the real struggle of a woman is, and where she needs to balance her emotions, her skills, prove it out to the world? Or do you think everywhere a bit is required? Where do you think is the real need for women to succeed?
Everywhere, everywhere. For when we were child, or even probably today, we used to think that ma is a homemaker, so that's a very easy job. Being a professional is much more difficult job. But once when we grow up, now I realize how difficult a job a homemaker is. My mother has been a homemaker, and it has been a very, very difficult job. And over there also, balancing her emotions, she left her career to be with us, to be with me, my sister. She sacrificed her life, her career. Same thing, for a woman when she's going outside, she needs to balance everywhere. It's not only about in the corporate world or in the political world. It's in today's world, it's such a competitive world, and where not a single person, in your family also is ready to give you a millimeter of space. So where you have to succeed, and there are certain expectations from the women. There are much lesser expectations from the men in today's society also. We have to agree to that. Because a woman, she's a mother, she's a daughter-in-law, she's a daughter, she's a sister-in-law, she's a she has her needs in the corporate world or in the political world. She has to deliver everywhere.
Absolutely.
And to maintain her balance, to maintain her balance 365 days a year and deliver is very difficult for any woman.
Absolutely.
And she has been doing this all her lives. We are doing it, our children will be doing it, her mothers have been doing it, our great grandmothers have been doing it. But for us, I think it is more challenging, because now we are here to balance both the worlds.
Absolutely.
So there I feel that actually we are much more empowered. We don't need to be empowered. We say na women need to be empowered. We don't need to be empowered. We are all Ma Durga. Ma Durga has given us everything. We just need to realize what power we have. Mental strength, what we have. Physically, we might be, lesser than the male folk, but mental strength.
Yes, ma'am.
Rationality,
Very right.
balancing.
Absolutely.
No men can do it like we males can do it, like we women can do it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, on your thoughts. And on that note, I would like to extend my gratitude to you, ma'am, for sharing your thoughts. I think the most important, the thought that I'm taking back today after the discussion is that it is important to be dominant, and then only you are truly empowered, because then only you can achieve true success. You can inspire people to work more and be what they want to be. And as long as it does not hurt anyone, to be dominant is perfectly fine, and it's encouraging.
So I would like to change a little bit on this, that
yes,
I will not say that it is important for all women to be dominant.
Right.
If a woman is dominant, there is nothing bad in it. That I want to say.
There's nothing bad in it. Absolutely, ma'am.
You can remain empowered, and you may not be dominant. And dominant doesn't mean you have to be aggressive. Dominance can be the expression of dominance can be in various ways. But dominance is not bad as long as you don't harm anybody, as long it's for the good of the society.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your insights. And I would also like to extend my special thanks for encouraging and inspiring us to Manjula Jain, our chairperson, and Indu Gandhi, our vice chair, along with Dr. Harbeen Arora, our global chairperson.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, audience. Thank you, everyone, for giving us your special time, and your thoughts which you've shared on the chat window makes it very encouraging for me and my team. I would like to especially mention the young soul Viraj Kapoor, who's the son of Anuradha Kapoor, the president of Social Media Council for WICCI West Bengal, who has been phenomenal in extracting these videos and hand it over to us. And yes, not the least, I would like to extend my warmest wishes to all my council members. Thank you all so much for sharing your thoughts on the different aspects of women retaliation today. And extremely grateful to Sandhya Sitodia, Turiya Talks and Turiya Communication for being our media partners for this event and shining light on the thought which is shared by all of us. Thank you all so much. Thank you once again, Ma'am Agni Mitra Paul, for giving us your precious time. Thank you all, and everyone have a great night. Thank you.
Namaste.